the desert of the real.
Hello, critical thinkers. Welcome to the Desert of the Real. I'm your host, Ryan Hudson, and joined with me is your other host,
Jason Deeds.
The Desert of the Real is a movie podcast where I force Jason to watch all the big blockbuster movies he's refused to watch because he didn't think they were worth his time. We're two high school English teachers. We also teach film philosophy and creativity classes. And we have graduate degrees. And we use our academic training to dig deeply into movies. We explore the creativity, philosophy, and ethics in our films. And we push you, the listener, to think critically about their entertainment.
All of this is true.
All of this is true. Jason, in a way, you can say that this podcast is where movies meet academia.
And that is why you should not use ChatGPT to generate content.
We have a brand new podcast trailer that's out, and we asked AI to write it for us, and that's what it said. Where movies meet academia.
Yes.
But in a way, it's true.
And in a way, it's not, because we're not academia.
What? We could be.
We could be.
Not that attitude.
Some of us were at one point.
That's actually going to come up in this podcast.
Oh, what is?
The fact that you used to be a professor in a college.
Oh, it is?
Actually, let's just jump
into
into that.
I didn't know that.
Let me tell you why.
Oh, okay.
This movie...
Wait. Now I'm on the edge of my seat.
Captain America Civil War, the third Captain America movie, came out in 2016. Guess I was in college at this time. And
I was too.
You want to know a little class I was taking in college?
What was it, Ryan? Tell us.
I was taking your class.
You were.
I was your student at one time.
Yes.
In college.
Yes.
And this movie came out. Part of the reason these movies were crazy successful is because you didn't want to be spoiled. You didn't want whatever to have happened be ruined for you. So there was a lot of buildup, like you just got to see it as soon as possible.
Right.
And I remember in your class, people talking about this movie. And I remember in your class being worried, like, I don't even want to hear, like, rumors about what's going on in this movie. I want to go in as blind as possible.
Yeah?
And I just have that memory.
You have, so listener, my friend Ryan has a steel trap mind.
Not true.
It is absolutely true.
I have many test scores that would argue against
That's
that idea.
That's not the same thing.
But I do remember these two things lining up.
I don't remember Civil War at all when I was teaching them. So you were in like my last class.
Yeah, because what's funny is because you came to teach here.
Yeah.
And someone asked you about me.
Yeah.
And you didn't remember who I was.
Yeah, we'll edit that part out. But I have since repented of not remembering who you were.
Right, exactly.
Now I remember you. So
something else big happened around this movie in my life. Also helps me figure out when it was. The problem is there's a Civil War movie coming out this year called Civil War. Which
I am incredibly out of my mind stoked for.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. That is, that's actually the only movie I'm looking forward to coming out this year as far as I know.
You know, I hear it's good.
Yeah.
My number one is Furiosa. Like, without
I don't know what that is.
It's the Mad Max.
Oh, yeah. That'll be good.
Yeah, on the side. So this movie came out...
that's another... Sorry.
That's
another argument for sequels. Because Mad Max sucked. It was a piece of crap.
Yeah, actually.
Like, I watched it, I got done, I'm like, what? What? But Mad Max Fury Road... That is amazing.
Well, even the jump from the first Mad Max to Mad Max Road Warrior is huge.
Yeah.
Arguably in contention with the biggest upgrade between sequels.
Yeah. So how come that when we argue about sequels, how come you never brought up Mad Max?
Because I forgot about it. Thunderdome's a curveball.
I haven't seen that.
And
I've only seen Mad Max and then Mad Max Fury
Oh,
Road.
you haven't seen Road Warrior?
I don't watch sequels unless somebody like you
Okay,
forces
here's
me
the
to watch
thing.
a sequel.
Mad Max, post-apocalyptic
Right.
car chases. You don't even get post-apocalyptic in the first Mad Max movie.
Right. It's just
Anyway, that was our...
those are completely unrelated to anything other than movies that's related to movies.
Yeah. So here is my fun story connected to this movie forever and always. Okay, this movie came out May 6th, 2016. Not long after, like a week later, I was dating my now wife, and we went with my brother and sister to Yellowstone. And it's in May in Yellowstone. There's still a lot of snow on the ground. It's not a lot of people are there. Not everything is open because of the snow. But that is when I proposed to my wife. And I mean, the story itself, we had to cross like 4 do not enter signs. Like, don't enter, bear sighted in the area.
Oh, smart.
We go down the trail, don't enter, icy trail. We walk past that. Then one that's just closed off that says do not enter. We climb over that.
Wow.
And there used to be like a bunch of steps that lead down to like the upper falls. No, the lower falls.
Okay.
And I proposed to my wife there.
Oh.
So then...
I didn't know you were such a rebel.
At the end of the day, or near the end of the day, we literally were just in West Yellowstone, and this movie was playing. And we're like, let's go see a movie. So the day I got engaged...
Oh, wow.
We went and saw this movie. I had already seen it, but my wife...
Oh.
Or my fiancée at the time. It was her first time seeing it in the Yellowstone IMAX theater.
Wow.
After all that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was an awesome
Fun.
story.
Yeah. Jason,
Wow.
do you want to give us a summary?
I don't know. I guess we could keep talking about other things.
Give us a summary of Civil War,
Civil
Jason.
War.
Then we'll get into pros and cons.
So, Civil War starts with, like, the government is done. Like, the world is done with the Avengers.
Yeah.
Just doing whatever. They want the Avengers to be subject to the world governments. Mm-hmm. And Iron Man obviously is into that, Tony Stark, because he has all this guilt about all this crap that happened. So he's into it. Cap, on the other hand, is not into it at all, mostly because they want to kill his friend, Bucky.
Right. He also, his lady friend died. And, like...
Oh, right.
The final words in her funeral is like... The whole world stands against you. Plant yourself like a tree and say no. And that's literally what sets him off, like his character.
Yeah. So, and we already knew from the previous movies because it was well seeded that Iron Man and Cap, they don't see eye to eye. Mm-hmm. And so that, like, disagreement becomes a big disagreement to the point that some of the Avengers show up to the UN signing party or whatever it is. I don't even know if they signed it, but there's this bomb that's planted, and it kills the king of Wakanda. Mm-hmm. And then they get the footage, and it appears that the Winter Soldier is the guy that set off the bomb.
Right.
So there's this massive hunt for the Winter Soldier. We're introduced to Black Panther.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Black Panther is hunting the Winter Soldier. Captain America is hunting the Winter Soldier to kind of protect and bring him back into the fold and whatever. Yeah. And then the government, Iron Man, and everyone else is hunting. Captain gets him away, figures out where he's at, that he's, himself again. Mm-hmm. So there's a big fight with everybody at the airport. And we're introduced to all these, it's like this, they dump a whole bunch of new characters into the mix. We get Black Panther is now in the mix. We get... Ant-Man and Spider-Man and some other people.
I was wondering about this. Did you have any idea Spider-Man was in this movie?
No.
See, I'm so jealous of you for some extent because that is such a fun thing. And in the trailer, it was a huge thing. Like
the Spider-Man was coming?
Yeah, it kind of ends with that. Like, here's the movie. The trailer ends, Spider-Man landing. Hey, y'all, whatever. Black Panther. Do you know anything? You don't know anything.
I
about
don't know
Black
a thing
Panther.
about him.
Because there's just a couple people like, oh hey, now we're getting in.
Right. Yeah,
No,
it was kind of cool. So, I mean, there were some issues in the airport fight that I
Right.
had, obviously, but then they get away.
Then Tony kind of realizes
Because Black Widow kind of doesn't do her job and lets them go.
Yeah.
So they get away, and it becomes apparent that Captain America is not just rescuing his friend.
Yeah.
There's a bigger thing going on.
Yeah.
Iron Man comes, he admits, I was wrong. Let's join forces and whatever. Captain America is like, well, I'm not signing that thing that's going to limit our powers. And then they have the epicest battle.
Iron Man versus Captain.
Just those two, and it was awesome. And then Iron Man gets beaten appropriately. Captain walks away with Bucky. Iron Man and his side of the thing go back to the Avengers happy place.
Yeah.
Captain America shows up at the prison, and he's going to break out Ant-Man and Falcon and whoever else is there.
Right.
And the end.
Yeah. And you liked this movie. You gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd.
I did.
This is the highest one official. And you think this, but it is good. I mean,
it is. Okay, so this is the moment where I get to admit I was wrong. I was wrong about a number of things with Marvel.
I know. Okay, but in your defense, there are a lot of like stinkers before we get to this moment.
That's true, but my objection with Marvel is that they were all the same movie. This is clearly not.
Yeah, and the thing is that if you watch them all, it's rewarding.
Yes, and that was another thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like, I've kind of bagged on some of the previous movies for, like, all of the variety of things. But watching this movie, like you said, it was immensely rewarding because everything came together.
Right.
So this movie, for any of my students who are listening, this movie is a synthesis. It synthesizes all of these previously kind of disconnected personality traits and plot lines and everything. It all comes together here.
Right.
Also, I will admit, at this point, we're, how many movies in? 15 movies in? Something like that. At this point, I'm finally starting to see an Iron Man arc.
See, and I knew we would talk about it because this is where you really see. We talked about this forever ago, where in hindsight, you see where he will be going. And same with Captain America. In Captain America 1, he's like, I am the perfect soldier. I'm the Boy Scout. Let's do this by the book. And now he's, especially this one, like, I can't do that. Like, even if you say it's right, and Iron Man is the opposite. He's been like the rebel, like, don't tell me what to do. But he's like, I'm trying to be a better person.
Right.
I saw the wormhole thing. I want to fix things. I made a mistake here. I'm trying to fix things with Pepper. I'm trying to do right. They're slowly trading or switching kind of where their beginning was.
I don't know if they're trading or... maybe,
They're just changing.
They're becoming more like each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were meeting in the middle.
Yeah.
To some degree.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's do negatives first, because we both don't have a lot of negatives.
Yeah, this movie was probably as close to a perfect movie as I anticipate seeing in the Marvel universe. So, the airport fight, whatever. Like, it seems like we couldn't have a Marvel movie without a big epic fight.
Right. It's pure fan service.
Right.
It's like, but everyone likes to argue, like, since superheroes were invented, who would win a fight? This person or that person? And we know going in, no one's going to die from this fight. Like, nothing serious is going to happen here. I mean, Rhodey gets paralyzed, but that's like a consequence that I guess in hindsight doesn't feel as severe because he can walk.
Because Iron Man fixes him up.
Kinda, yeah. But you're right. That fight, we know nothing serious will happen. but it's a lot of fun to
It
watch.
was a lot of fun. It was.
I love all the little... I love Ant-Man in this movie because he's another one. It's like, oh yeah, he's getting Ant-Man. And like, he's like on the arrow. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready, arrow guy.
Yeah.
And he shoots him into the suit. Who is talking right now? It's your conscience. We don't talk like that. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or actually a fun fact, when he's about to turn into Giant Man, he's like, I'm the boss, I'm the boss, I'm the boss. Do you know what that's a reference to? What movie? Raging Bull.
I've never seen
Raging
Raging
the
Bull.
boxing movie.
Oh.
But he says that at the end of the movie. I'm the boss,
cool.
I'm the boss. It's a Raging Bull reference.
Sorry.
Yeah. When he takes his shield back, he's just, I believe this is yours, Captain America. He just like obviously loves Captain America.
Right.
Anyway, I was a little surprised that I rated this movie 3.5 out of 5 because I bumped it up to 4.5 because I do have. I was talking to my sister about this, Christy, who was on the podcast earlier, and she's like, "Yeah, I think we used to have problems with Zemo." And I think some people just...
Is that the bad guy?
That's the bad guy.
Yeah.
In the comics, he's got like this purple mask and stuff. But I think some people don't like Zemo as maybe not quite a full character. But I don't know. I actually mentioned in my film class today that... Because we talk about every movie we watch over the weekend, and I just watched this. And a student is like, Captain or Civil War, I wish it was good. I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like,
wow.
I just wish that it wasn't some guy pushing them apart. It was just the two of them coming apart together naturally.
Oh.
But I kind of like...
Yeah, I don't think it would have happened otherwise.
My biggest complaint is the very ending when Iron Man or Tony gets the letter from Captain America. I think that kind of undercuts... literally them splitting up because his whole letter is like, I hope we can work this out. This is why I didn't tell you about your parents. This is why. I was like, I mean, it's a nice touch because then it ends with Captain appearing at the jail, but I think it would have been better overall if we didn't have that little bit of closure.
If they were just pissed off.
Yeah, because if you look at the next few movies, the next movies aren't about these characters. It's because the next movie is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So that's not even about this issue at all. And then it's Doctor Strange. He's a new guy. He doesn't care about this situation. And then it's Black Panther. And Black Panther is like, it's not really his fight. He's kind of in the Avengers, but not really. Right. So the next 3 movies are unrelated. The next time we see everyone again, we're picking up with this split still going on. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't have any problems with him. Like, he seemed like a very intelligent villain. That has a very specific thing. It's not world domination. It's not power. It's not...
See, that's what I mean. It's... Martin Freeman, who's like Bilbo Baggins and Watson. He's like, so you did it for nothing. The Avengers are still here. It's like, I wouldn't say that, you know. It ends with like, I did what I set out to do. I just think it would have been a stronger ending without the Captain's letter.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
I do have a nitpick that annoys
I like the
me.
hubris of the letter, though. I really did, because Captain America, like... I think his original movie was one of my least favorites because he's like the Boy Scout and super whatever the crap and not realistic. Here, he's starting to be like, yeah, you know, I'm kind of, you know, a thing. And when you need my help, I'll be there.
Right.
So I loved that part. I get the, you know, the hopefully we come back together objection, but... Yeah, Captain America evolving and becoming a human, I think is cool.
I think it's, cool and good for movies.
Yeah.
My nitpick, though, is when Hawkeye goes, well, I tried retiring. I played 18, I shot 18. I was like, you played golf and got a perfect hole-in-one. Come on. I know this says superheroes, but I cannot suspend my disbelief for that. Like
that's the one.
Join the PGA or whatever. Come on. If you make one eagle, like you can usually get like a free drink or whatever at the golf club.
Sure.
And it's like, no, you did not get 18. That's stupid. Like,
Wow. Okay.
Oh, I'm good at
I
arrows.
like-
I'm also good at golf. I don't know. I don't know about that.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I didn't know you were a golfer.
I'm not really.
Me either, really. I own some secondhand clubs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So those are negatives. Our pros.
Everything else.
Everything else. I think this movie hits the ground running. I love that opening mission with like, I think his name's Skull and Bones from Captain.
Oh,
2.
yeah.
Like, I think it kind of feels more visceral. DC heroes are gods, basically. Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern. They're like gods compared to Marvel. But I think that's a benefit for Marvel because these people can get punched and have to fight normal dudes sometimes.
Right.
Like Captain America has a fall from like a building where he hits a thing and then falls down to the ground. Like that felt like it hurt.
But it didn't.
Well, that always happens in these action movies. But it's like, oh, he just took a punch, I guess, in a way. You're not wrong that he won't have like back problems or something.
Right.
But
that's why I liked that final fight so much.
Yes.
Is because both Iron Man and Cap were obviously hurt.
Yeah.
And like the fight was not just flash in a pan. It did damage to both of them.
Yeah.
Not that I wanted them damaged other than Iron Man, but it had some weight to it. Yeah.
That's the thing. The battle at the airport is not the Civil War. That's just
A battle.
Fun stuff,
Yeah.
The real Civil War is that fight. And Robert Downey Jr. recently, because when he did Oppenheimer, people just ask him about Marvel stuff. But he said that he is proud of some acting from these movies. And I can't help but think that is the number one where he's like, when he's holding Buck, he's like, do you even remember them? He's like, I remember all of them.
Yeah.
But the one that gets me is still like, he didn't, like, Captain America's like, it wasn't him. It wasn't his fault. He's like, I don't care. He killed my mom.
Yeah.
That is so gut-wrenching.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. He just isn't going to listen to reason anymore. Oh, man. It just works emotionally.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah.
Because even that shot, when Bucky tells him, I'm not the only Winter Soldier, then it cuts to 1991 with the big font over the whole screen. But like there's no sound. Like the car is driving and the motorcycle's up, no sound until like the gunshot and the crash, which is a cool choice to just make it stand out more.
Yeah.
And you realize he's the one that specifically killed Tony's parents and stuff. A lot of cool choices like that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So cool.
So this is the Russo brothers, right?
Yeah, they did Winter Soldier, then this, and they'll do the next two Avengers.
Okay. So I don't know why they didn't just stick with these guys for the rest of them, but these guys are awesome.
I actually don't think literally it's feasible for one director to make all of them.
I don't know, but these are my top two favorite movies of the Marvel
And I was
universe.
thinking about you because philosophy side of things, both people have good arguments for and against why to sign the
So that was
Accords.
on my list of positives. That was a huge one.
Yeah.
Because there's not a right answer
Yeah.
in this situation, and usually in movies that never happens.
Right.
There's almost always this is obviously, and then this moron doesn't know what he's doing, and he's just. But in this case, after we get past the initial, this is just about saving Bucky, into the actual argument the Captain's making. Yeah, I loved it.
Because you can still go up to any Marvel fan today and be like, who did you agree with more? In fact, a student asked me that when I mentioned it earlier today.
Who do you agree with?
I actually am a little surprised to say I think I'm more on Tony's side.
Of course. I'm more on Cap's side, so that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah.
But I was also, because you are not a fan of Tony and Pepper's relationship. You don't think it's...
We haven't seen any of it. And actually, he's separated or divorced or whatever in this movie, right?
Yeah, because he admits when he's trying to get Captain to sign, he's like, I'm trying to make amends. He admits I can't let this go. I know that about me. So this is me trying to fix some of that.
Yeah.
And that is also to appease the pepper, you know?
Sure.
I was thinking about that because of
That
our
was great.
previous arguments.
Yeah. Right. I admit I was wrong about Iron Man. I assumed he was just going to be kind of a flat.
Oh, man. Just when they're in that big fight at the end, Captain says, I can do this all day, which is what he's, you know, it's what his like catchphrase basically.
Right.
And you never thought he'd say that to
Iron Man.
Yeah. Like a friend, you know?
Right.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of moments that, like, thinking back on them give me goosebumps right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't, I admit, I never in my life would have thought I would say that about a Marvel movie ever.
I'm now excited. Yeah, there's a few movies still that like, oh, I can't wait to see what Dietz has to say about that.
So other things I really loved, Vision. I just love Vision.
Uh-huh.
Like the character of Vision and like what he represents in terms of critical thinking and analysis and stuff.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. He's so, I don't know yet if I like, who is
Tom Holland.
And who's the other guy? Kisses upside down.
Yeah, that's Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I don't know if I like Tom Holland more than Tobey Maguire, but he probably will grow on me.
I think this is like the perfect Spider-Man iteration because, you know, plus Tom Holland's like a fan of Spider-Man, which I think helps a lot. Just as like an actor who's playing it, like being excited. I think Andrew Garfield was too, but he looks younger, which helps. But he's got like the jokes, like like, oh, you got a metal arm? That's so cool.
He's
like,
so like so fanboy.
Yeah,
like he captures that. It's so
See, this movie makes a super smart choice to just bypass the Uncle Ben thing, because at this point we've seen it twice now.
Right.
With Tobey Maguire and then the other series, and so we know, and they do their little, they skirt around saying it. With great power comes great responsibility. Right.
Actually, I loved how they put it. I wrote it down. I loved how they did that.
Go for it.
So when you can do the things you can do, but you don't, and then bad things happen, they happen because of you.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome, because I think that's true for everyone on the planet.
Yeah.
Like in our last episode, we talked about the idea that you need to like find your thing, your superpower,
right,
and then use it to do things in the world. I think that's exactly what Spider-Man's talking about there.
And the thing is, that's what, even when Spider-Man first came out, he was a teenager, which was different at the time. Spider-Man, his whole bread and butter is he can't be both things at once.
Right.
He can't be Spider-Man, or else he'll miss something in his personal life. That's why Spider-Man 2 is still one of the best superhero movies.
Is that in this thing?
That's the Tobey Maguire thing.
Oh, okay.
The one with Doc Ock and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because it deals with like how hard it is to be a hero. But Spider-Man, he can never have both things. Right. That's what makes him the most relatable hero.
Yeah.
He will miss helping Aunt May because he has to stop a bad guy type of thing. Marvel made a deal with Sony to have Spider-Man in these movies. Something about how much money they make, like percentage-wise or toys and stuff. But they didn't make a deal because Spider-Man is still technically owned by Sony. Spider-Man was a late entry to begin with. Like, I'm pretty sure they filmed a lot of the movie way before Spider-Man was even signed on.
Oh.
So all those
that's
scenes,
why he hops in at the end?
Kinda. I think there's, in the first trailer, when they run, Spider-Man's not in that trailer because there's a chance things weren't finalized, maybe. So all the scenes with, like, Captain or the other guys, I think were after shots.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy how...
See, this is what I talk about, the steel trap mind. He knows everything.
It's cool, but then we're going to start playing... Marvel's like, what if we just... It's all going to be mixed up in a way. Like, people aren't even going to be on the same set type of stuff. And you won't notice it or even realize it unless someone points it out to you. But Marvel's going to start playing around a lot with stuff like that.
Cool. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Spider-Man good, though.
Yeah. Like his awkwardness and whatever. Like he's got... So, actually, I think it was Falcon. I only laughed once in this movie. It was when Spider-Man was doing something with Falcon in that fight.
Yeah.
And Falcon's like, I don't know if you've ever been in a fight before, but there's usually not this much talking. Like, I know. Oh, yeah. Because he's just so, like,
excited.
He's just so, like, a 13-year-old kid that's, yeah.
I saw one nerdy video breaking down how strong Spider-Man could be and how the guy was arguing one of the strongest superheroes.
Right.
But he chooses not to, like, he's not going to kill people, obviously. But this guy was breaking down, technically, he could do something like this, but he doesn't because that would kill someone, Like, even in this movie, when something is thrown at him and Spider-Man's, hey, I think you lost this. He just destroys the pillar type of thing. Anyway, I love Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know. I might. I don't know.
I'm excited for you to see because he has his own trilogy in the MCU. The last quote I have with Black Panther, he's trying to get vengeance for his dad.
Right.
And he catches up to Zemo at the end, and he learns, oh, this is the guy, not Bucky, that I'm upset with. He has the claws out. He puts them back in, and he's like, I'm done letting the anger consume me.
Yeah.
Because, he has every right to be mad. His dad was murdered. And then Zemo, his whole thing was his family was murdered too. So he's making the choice to, let go of that. And I think easier said than done.
Right, but it also shows his strength. So Black Panther has a movie too, right?
It's a big movie. It's one that makes $1 billion.
Oh, wow.
And that's what we'll get there is you can argue similar to Iron Man, has all these high-tech things. But the difference is how he is as a character. He's like a noble king, Right.
And we don't get much more than that here, but I'm interested. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, unfortunately, the actor dies in real life.
Oh, really?
So that's not for a lot of movies, but it's very upsetting as like a fan of him as a character, his movies and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Which is, it's hard to like, we don't know famous people.
Right.
They don't owe us anything type of thing. But sometimes celebrity deaths can still hurt sometimes. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Chadwick Boseman is his name, but he's the actor. I think he's great.
Yeah. He does Regal really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his movie's coming up, but I only knew him because there was a cartoon Avengers movie that I had seen that he's like one of the main guys in that movie. So I was like, I know some stuff about him.
Yeah.
But now he's like, he means a lot to a lot of people and is one of, as recognizable as any of these guys.
Right. Yeah.
You go to Disneyland, he'll be there in Disneyland to see type of thing. Anyway.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. So, we've already talked about
Yeah.
Just the idea of freedom versus bureaucracy, I guess.
I mean, it is. Yeah.
And that's an unresolved question today. We fight it. How much freedom do we want versus how much do we want our government to provide for us in terms of, food, healthcare, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's this constant trade-off between I want to be able to, but I want someone else to.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting in this movie because Cap comes down on the side of I want to be able to.
Right. Like, I want to be able to go where I need to go.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And, Tony comes down on the side of, like...
We need structure.
We need structure. We need...
someone holding us accountable.
Yeah. And it doesn't answer it. So I guess that's the thing I love about movies is there's the movies that there aren't an answer to. Like it presents us with this philosophical issues.
Yeah.
And it's like so you decide. So you're on the side of structure and order, and I'm more on the side of freedom and ability to act.
Yeah, I think because I read the Civil War has been a multiple big comic book events. I think I read one of them. I was just so annoyed with Captain America in the comic books. It's roughly the same idea, but I was like, oh, this is a much more digestible Captain America than the comic book version of this.
Oh, okay.
So I think I But now I'm like, I don't know, Tony's making some sense here.
Yeah, they both of the arguments make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Which is why it's still an argument.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the philosophy part that I really wanted to focus on, Gretchen Rubin conceptualized what's called the Four Tendencies.
Wait, I think we've talked about this off mic.
Oh, yeah,
So I don't
I'm
remember
sure.
this. But I know I've learned it before.
Yeah. So the Four Tendencies are about how you respond to authority. And this movie is super interesting in the context of how the various characters respond to authority.
Yeah.
And what makes it so powerful is the two main, Iron Man and Captain America, seem to be changing in how they respond to authority. So the four tendencies are the upholder, the obliger, the questioner, and the rebel. And it has to do with, can I meet my own internal goals, my own internal authority, and can I interact with external, other people's authorities over me?
Right.
And so we see Captain America in his arc going from being an upholder. He can meet his own goals. And he's 100% committed to meeting the expectations of the people around him. And he is changed in this movie. I think he's become more of a questioner. A questioner still has very strong abilities to meet their own goals. Like his goal here is to rescue Bucky and to make sure that Bucky is safe and to preserve his power. He meets that. But the questioner is like, if other people's expectations don't make any sense, I'm not doing it.
Right.
And so that's interesting in terms of his arc. And then we have Tony, who started out as, I think, the rebel.
Right, for sure.
The rebel has a hard time meeting his own goals, like holding himself accountable.
Yeah.
And also, he's basically like, I don't care what you want. I'm just living in the moment, doing what I want in the moment. And he's going the other way, and he's becoming, I think in this movie at least, he's more of an obliger. And the obliger has a really, like, they focus on meeting other people's expectations.
Yeah, I think it feels so wrong if you get the obliger when you take the test. But some of my favorite people are obligers.
Right.
That's hard. You just want to help people.
Yeah.
It's hard to say no.
Well, there's nothing wrong with any of the four of them.
You're right.
There are strengths to all of them.
Yeah.
But Tony going from being a rebel to being an obliger is a real, like, the cycle in terms of authority is fascinating to me in this movie. And I think that's why I think I loved it so much, is because that change signifies actual growth in the characters.
Right.
But it also illustrates to us the strengths of each of the four. If we look at Captain America in the beginning, when he's the upholder and he can meet his own goals and everyone else's goals, like he takes down Plato Face and
Plato Face, like the arch villain.
I don't remember his name. Red Skull. He takes down Red Skull.
You were making a reference to Plato.
Oh, no. The guy with the Play-Doh face. Yeah, Red Skull. Sorry. So he takes down Red Skull as the upholder because he can set his own goals and meet them. And then in this movie, a lot of the strength of him comes in the fact that he's not going to be a yes man anymore.
Right.
It has to make sense to him. It has to fit in his schema, his way of viewing the world. Yeah. And then Tony, the rebel's strength from the early Iron Man movies, which I didn't like. Yeah. But there's definite strength in being the rebel because you can do things no one else can do. And then Obliger, there's power there. Like he holds together the remainder of the Avengers, and he helps the Avengers, at least the part that he has, become palatable to the world. Yeah. And so all four of these tendencies for authority have their strengths, and we see them really well illustrated in this movie. So That's that's my philosophy, the real. I'm a questioner, by the way, which
Yeah,
is
you
probably
are.
why I identify with Cap,
Right.
and you're an obliger, which
Probably.
is probably why you identify with
Tony
Tony
here.
in this movie.
So just do what you need to do, you know?
Yeah. So I loved it from philosophy, I guess psychology. I don't know what that is, but
No one does, because you didn't tell us. I'm just joking.
I don't know. I think everything is philosophy.
I got
We'll
two
go with that.
things in mind when I was thinking of the film studies of the real. What are your thoughts on the de-aged Tony Stark?
Is he younger?
Okay, so you didn't notice. So that's interesting. When Tony presents his thing at the college, remember he has his parents and holograms.
Sure.
You see a young version of Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, that, yeah.
What'd you think about that special effect? It didn't bother you?
Apparently it bothered you.
No,
I thought it was. I didn't know how they did it.
So
but...
here's the thing. This is, I think, de-aging people in films have not really been great before this moment. Think of Tron Legacy, where Jeff Bridges is young at the beginning, and then Clue looks just like him as the young version of Jeff Bridges. What's funny about that example is that you can argue he looks like a video game because they're in a computer. You can make that argument.
Yeah.
It doesn't ruin the movie for me, but a lot of people are like, oh, it's just uncanny. It's not right. I'm not seeing a person. I'm seeing a computer or a cartoon.
Yeah.
This is one of a big step in the right direction, because eventually, in fact, later in the Marvel movies, we'll see a lot of characters de-age. Well, not a lot, just a handful. Some characters de-aged here and there, and they get better. That's the thing. Where the technology is evolving. Have you heard of deepfakes?
Oh, yeah.
So deepfake trains a computer to know a face. Learn this face from every angle we have, and the deepfake will do it as an AI thing. Huh. This isn't there yet. It's only a couple years before we start getting into that stuff. But around this time, they start to discover that the trick to make a face look good CGI is pores. Before they weren't even.
I did notice that.
Yeah, because if you look at something like Polar Express, a lot of people say uncanny.
Right.
Don't like it. Because we hadn't figured out or got to the point where it's even an option yet for lips and skin to stretch accurately. And a lot of that is animating the pores. So we're almost there with this. Some people, it's maybe a little bit not great yet, but it's not going to ruin the movie. It'd not take you out. But in the near future, in fact, Thanos is a huge step in all the history of special effects of making a computer character look as real as you probably can. Even though arguably Smeagol from Lord of the Rings,
sure,
nothing wrong with him. He still holds up.
Yeah, he's pretty creepy.
Yeah, exactly. But it's that CGI is not going to take you out. But yeah, this is the beginning of a lot of advances in making people.
I guess I assumed that they just shaved him and put makeup on him.
No,
I didn't realize. I mean, it did look pretty off.
Yeah.
But
I
just assumed it was a lot of makeup, and that's why it was off.
They used footage from his old movies from the 80s or whatever, and put a new face on his body type
That's
of thing.
Cool.
Yeah. There's some impressive de-aging that we will see. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. I have my other thing I wanted to bring up. It's not even an aspect of a movie it's necessary. It's more I want your opinion on it. I think plot hole, when a movie has a plot hole, that's bad. But is it? If the movie still works. Because let's take Zemo. I think people got so hyper-focused on this detailed plan that he has. And wait a second. How could that make sense? You know what I mean? Let's back up and say, to get Captain America and Tony Stark to fight and break up Avengers, they have to have had Bucky to be framed, and for that to have happened, they needed this in a certain location to kill that person to make these people upset. It starts to get way convoluted.
Wait, I thought they found like a Bucky mask.
Yeah. No, I know. But because Zemo was framing Bucky.
Right.
They wanted Bucky to be the bad guy
Right.
so that the Avengers had to turn him in, because I guess he was banking on Captain to... It becomes an easy target to be like, wait a second, there's no way this could have been a plan. You know what I mean? However, I think this is like the CinemaSins brain working. And I know you don't know what CinemaSins is. It's this dumb YouTube channel
It's like Cinnabon
it's
mistakes.
it's like nitpicking. Like, how can we nitpick every funny thing? They say it's a joke, but it's not good. Like, people listening here are critical thinkers.
Yeah.
CinemaSins will teach you to nitpick, and it's not a good way to watch movies, I don't think. Be like, oh, why did that character do that? Because, I don't know, they're a human being. They make choices that don't make sense, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of talk, I guess, as your quick opinion about plot holes. Is like, if the movie works, I don't think we need to care about things, like, on a minuscule level. You know,
I think I agree.
A famous example is Raiders of the Lost Ark. He swims to the submarine. Next thing you know, he's on the island with the Nazis. So it's like, how did he get there? You know, is that a plot hole? No, it doesn't matter. The movie works.
Yeah. I think, like in this case, I didn't even consider that a plot hole because the plan wasn't... I don't feel like it was that complex.
Well, so I think some people do, though. But
like, he gets a Bucky mask and blows up the UN building so that people get pissed off. Like,
right. So I think that's their way to think of it. But I don't know. I guess my main thing is a plot hole. This idea of a plot hole breaking a movie. Like,
I think they absolutely do. But...
Yes.
But it's like thinking of this, if that is a plot hole, a couple of answers to that.
Yeah.
In this case, I think the movie itself, like it pulled me in, and I was so engaged in all of the complexity, like the interpersonal complexity, the ethical complexity, all of that I didn't even... Like, that didn't even register for me as a plot hole.
And I don't think
and
it
so,
should.
So for movies that are working that well, I guess plot holes shouldn't be an issue. Mm-hmm. But in earlier episodes of this, I think those plot holes, I think that they ruined the movie for me.
Right, and I want to... I got to be clear, I'm not saying there are no plot holes in movies.
Right, no, I understand. So I guess my answer to you is... So it's just a matter of how well the movie is working, whether or not the plot hole blows it apart.
I think that's how I view it. I think we're on the same page.
What?
I just think...
Wow.
Remember, I have, dear listener, or another episode, I was like, if you rate your movies out of 100, that's
that
dumb.
was fun.
But at the same time, I think there are people who are like, they structure movies like it's like a math equation. Like, oh, we can't have too many nitpicks or what they consider a plot hole to work. I think people get bogged down in stuff like that. When really, I think you step back and look at the art as a whole. And how did it move you? How did it make you think?
Yeah.
How did it...
Yeah. I guess...
Also, if you have any thoughts about this, feel free to email us at desertoftherealpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, 100%. Tell your friends. So I think which plot holes destroy which movies is going to be a subjective thing then.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, like, if somebody hated Civil War... then I guess that plot hole would blow it apart.
You could look at so many movies and you could probably break any movie.
Right.
If you wanted to.
Yeah. I guess it depends if you're terming a plot hole as like a problem they just skip over. Yeah. Or is it just they didn't film every single thing that happened between this point and this point.
And that's another thing. I think there's been this internet culture that's come with YouTube and everything, where now anyone can have a voice. which is good, but it's become this thing of tearing things down or taking things apart. I think there's a huge subculture on the internet of like why you actually shouldn't like this movie, or like tell me what to think about this movie type of thing. I think I think plot holes is a big like hot topic word that people like, oh, here are plot holes in this movie. Like I think a lot of audiences that go on the internet like that type of, I guess, video. Like,
so I guess they're, for them.
Yeah, for them. But I think I like how I liked a few movies.
Don't we all?
Because I can't believe anyone would be like, just tell me what happens in that movie. It's like, what? Just see it for yourself. Like, that's a mindset I'll never understand fully.
I mean, if it's a sequel, I get that. Nobody needs to watch Jaws 2. Just what happened. But
anyway, I just wanted to just think about plot holes.
Yeah, that was good. Ethics.
Yes.
Ethics. This is one of the best utilitarian versus empathetic I've seen. So utilitarian, what's the best for the most number of people versus empathetic, how would I feel if it were me? So Cap is an empathetic ethicist in this movie, specifically for Bucky, and then Tony Stark is the utilitarian, what's best for the planet.
Yeah.
So that's all. I mean, that's what we got. I am a heavy empathetic ethicist, which is probably another reason why I'm on Cap's side here in this movie. So again, this movie doesn't answer it. Should we be focused on what's best for the most number of people, or should we be focused on what's best for this one individual person?
Is that person me?
The question for empathetic ethics is, how would I feel if it were me?
Right.
And so in the case of Captain America, his answer is, I would want my friend to come and save me from being framed and, executed or whatever. Yeah. And so he does it. And Tony Stark is like, I would want someone to make the decision that would protect and preserve the most of the planet. Yeah. And they're both great answers. Right. They're both great ways to view the ethical situation. And it's just kind of up to us. Who's right? What's the right answer? So,
man, this one's so good. I can't believe I gave it 3.5 in the past.
I can't honestly either. So this is the first time I gave one of these a higher rating than you.
Me. I think so. Maybe. If you want to see our ratings and movies,
shameless plug.
Jason is Broken Staple on Letterboxd, and I am Mr. Shy Rye Hud on Letterboxd. So there's that.
So we have forgotten a key component of our podcast for a while.
Dessert of the reel.
What is our dessert of the reel, Ryan?
Wanda and Vision making a little dinner together.
Yeah.
Got a nice little cute scene there.
Yeah, it was cute.
Because you asked way back in 2 episodes ago or 3 episodes ago about Wanda and Vision. Because it was WandaVision. Yeah, they're setting up. They have like a thing. There's a thing. And in the comics, they have a thing. So it's,
even though Vision's not a person.
Yeah, he's learning to be a human, though.
But yeah, Vision's super cool.
Setting up, they got something.
Yeah, I know.
That's cute. And, anyway.
So the only question I am left with that probably you shouldn't answer is where's Hulk? Where's Thor?
You'll find out.
Well, my answer is, if Hulk and Thor were here, I'm pretty sure they would both be on Captain's side. And I think that would have made this movie very different. Yeah. If they allowed Hulk and Thor to fully be there, I think it would have ended very differently.
Very differently. And Hulk, last time we saw Hulk, he was in that jet flying.
Right.
And you love Hulk.
I do.
And I am very curious how you're going to react the next time we see Hulk.
I hope they don't ruin him.
I hope they don't either.
But okay, now yeah, I never ever in my life would have thought I would be to the point in the Marvel movies where I'm like, what is coming next?
And I'm so happy you have no idea. You don't even have trailers to even tell you tiny things.
This is just a moment.
So
in my life where I'm like, dang,
yeah,
I was wrong.
so I guess a negative, not a negative. This movie just feels so much into a series. Like,
Sure.
we are here because of Sokovia in the last Avengers movie. And this movie is going to have effects in the next thing. This whole Phase 4, which we're currently in, it's like, what are we building up to right now in Phase 4? This is Phase 3.
Oh, okay.
We're Phase 3. The movie's coming out right now.
It's Phase 4.
Phase 4. And there's like something that happens in like Eternals that would shock the world and make everyone question reality, but it's like no one in the next like 5 movies have even mentioned that thing. You know, it's like, where's the connectivity of these things?
Like Kevin Feige
he's
retire?
Not only did he not retire, the movies now say a Kevin Feige production.
Oh, so is he broken or something?
I don't know.
Because like this movie is so seamlessly
this is the
woven.
best stuff. Yeah. This is where it's definitely peak Marvel.
Oh man. So what's gonna happen then is I'm gonna be like, "Yay Marvel,"
Yay,
and
Marvel.
then it's gonna, and then I'm gonna return to my previous stance.
Maybe. However, you are not watching things as they come out. So a big problem has been, here's a movie and a TV show and another TV show back to back, and so if you don't watch the shows, which I don't think you should. I wonder if you're like, no, there's not a big problem here. But like a lot of us are like, too much. Like, there's too much right now. Marvel, back away type of thing.
I guess we'll find out.
Since COVID started till, I guess, last year, it's all, in a way, been nonstop Marvel things with TV shows and movies.
I'm glad I'm not a part of that.
Right. So you are going in blind as a bat. And
blind as a bat.
I'm a little bit jealous of that.
Yeah.
Our next movies.
Hang on. I want to do one shout out to my brother Spencer and my niece Maya. I was wrong. I was wrong. They are not all the same. You were right. So.
You know what's so funny? I've had an argument in my back pocket this entire podcast about that very thing. But now is not the time to.
Okay.
So our next
teaser
movie is Doctor Strange.
Which I vaguely remember seeing.
And then it's Guardians Volume 2. And then it's Spider-Man Homecoming. So I misremembered the order there.
Okay.
Because
and those are all Season 3. What is it called?
Phase 3.
Phase 3.
Yeah, Phase 3 doesn't end until after the next...
Next Avengers is the end of it.
Avengers bookmarks these. So then after Spider-Man Homecoming is Thor Ragnarok, then Black Panther, and then Endgame. Not Endgame, Infinity War.
With Snappy
Guy.
Okay.
And
this is the first time I'm actually excited to watch the next movie.
I know.
Never, ever would have thought. But anyhow. Well, thank you for joining us for my coming of age, I guess, as a Marvel movie watcher.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah. So even when they're this good, we still need to be thinking critically and analyzing. And honestly, with this movie, I think the critical thinking tools make it even better. Because it's so well put together. So not only do critical thinking help you prevent these movies from writing you, I think it also could enhance and deepen your appreciation of the really good ones. So,
I agree.
There you go.
Don't forget to like us, share, leave a review.
Help us expand our audience.
We love you.
We do love you. Thanks for listening.
This is where academia...
No. I'm cutting it. I'm cutting it.
Movies meet academia.
Goodbye.